Hey friends, Angela here with Curtis to answer some questions about the RV industry. So Curtis, from your experience, what are the biggest surprises first-time camper buyers encounter?
So I think the most common thing first-time campers will experience is the problems with their tow vehicle. A lot of customers will come in with a mid-size SUV or even a half-ton truck and have the expectation that they'll be able to tow a 30-foot camper or have a camper that'll have like a full-on island or space for nine. But in reality, 9 out of 10 times, their vehicle will not be able to tow that. I think to set a real expectation is to do some research, talk to your salesman about your tow vehicle and what you want to do with your camping trip. So if you're thinking about going across the country, you might want to think about having a bigger vehicle or a smaller camper. So in the future, you're not stuck with a camper that you can't really tow as far as you want, or a vehicle that just won't perform.
So what do you wish every new buyer understood before stepping onto the lot?
I think something I wish buyers would understand is that campers are not a financial investment. 9 out of 10 campers alone will depreciate really hard. Even the $1 million ones will always come to depreciate. I think if you come in with the mindset that campers are more of an experience, adventure, place where you can bond with your family and friends, coming in with that mindset would be better than coming in with the mindset that this is a long-term financial investment, because most of the time they're really not.
Good point. Okay, how should a first-time buyer determine a realistic budget for purchasing a camper?
I think determining a real budget comes down to your camping lifestyle. I think if a customer, before coming to any dealership, decides to plan out the year of how they would use their camper before they get it, would help a lot. So determining, the weight that you want, the length that you feel comfortable towing with, non-negotiables, where you're going with the camper, who's going with you most often, would help determine a smart budget to build around the camper instead of getting the camper that you find on the lot and then building around that. It would make the process much more smoother for that customer.
Okay. So what hidden or ongoing costs do buyers often overlook, like maintenance, insurance, or storage?
I think a good rule of thumb for a customer to keep in mind is 10 to 15% on yearly upkeep of the sales price they paid for the camper. I think that'll factor in storage, maintenance, just little things that'll happen on a trip like a tire blowout. That's all good to factor in. And to minimize those costs, I think teaching yourself how to be handy, so fixing little appliances that may fall off, winterizing your camper on your own, spot seals, little maintenance that isn't hard to do for the average person would keep those yearly ongoing costs down. Or even building your own storage solution, like if you want to keep it inside but there's not much available around, building your own little roof or gazebo for your camper. Just little things like that minimize ongoing costs for a first-time camper.
Good information. Now, Curtis, are there meaningful differences between buying new versus used for someone's first camper?
I think the most meaningful differences for people is the security of having a new camper. Having a new camper means you can have a factory warranty, newer appliances, and that security that if something happens to it, that it's covered. You can also have that with a used camper, but that just more often than not doesn't come with that camper. And I think also a difference between new and used is, do you care that, like the toilet was used, or like someone may have lived in the camper? I think going over these things with a salesman and knowing what you're comfortable with having or not having, your non-negotiables, makes your process much smoother than just seeing like any old camper or new camper on the lot and just rolling with it and seeing what comes up with it in the future.
All good information. Thanks for your time, Curtis. Stay tuned for part 2.